Hi Tribe, I'm Evelyn and this is Demon Dialogues, a place on Objectively Type where we talk about everybody's favorite topic, our demons. And so actually today I want to talk about my savior, which is extroverted intuition. It's also known as NE, right? So the reason I want to talk about extroverted intuition today is because I get a lot of questions about it. Maybe because we have the podcast and we have the YouTube channel and people kind of know that I'm an ENFP. People ping me and they ask me about what's it like with NE. Also Versavia and I in the podcast, just in our, sort of off-air friendship, we've banged a lot of blocks together about the difference between extroverted sensing and extroverted intuition. And so I feel like I have a much better understanding of extroverted intuition than I did back when I got typed. So for reference, before I got typed, like I didn't really come from a Myers-Briggs background or a cognitive function background or anything coming into objective personality system. So I came in pretty cold. So I was just kind of looking at the definitions that Dave and Shannon had, and I was kind of trying to type myself like everybody does before you get your type, and I concluded that I was probably NITE. I thought I was like blast, sleep, play, consume last, or something like that, because I knew I was more extroverted. So I figured, that my last animal was consume, not sleep. Yeah, because I've done like years and years of meditation, so I couldn't possibly be sleep last, right? So when my result came back as NETE, like a couple things surprised me. The sleep last actually didn't surprise me that much. My husband sort of saw that one coming and knew that I kind of do for the tribe before I'll actually take time and process for myself. And I have a lot of trouble with like just, taking the time for myself to recover. So he was like, yeah, you're probably sleep last. Like he knew way back then. But the NE surprised me. I was like, really? NE? Like, that was surprising because I seem to be so like obsessed with control. Like, I am known in my family as the controlling one. I am known as the one that when plans change, like I kind of like, I flip out a little bit. I don't like changing plans. I don't like things like that. So it was like, how could I possibly be savior gather? And so one of my very first phone calls with Shannon was about extroverted intuition. And over the course of the last year plus that I've had my type, I've gotten to know what extroverted intuition is like for other people too who have been typed. So other ENFPs, other ENTPs, things like that. So the way that I would describe extroverted intuition is like the way that I experience it is like constantly seeing cross connections between like what's happening for me right now and then like my past history. So that's the other aspect of NE and SI are on a coin together. So you can't have NE without also having introverted sensing. And I think understanding extroverted intuition, you need to have some understanding of introverted sensing because the two of them are totally connected and combined. And so as an introverted sensing user, my past experience provides the context for my present moment, my present moment experience. My past really gives context to my present. And so when I'm experiencing the world, it's in this context of my introverted sensing, which is my history. And then my extroverted intuition is like taking all these sort of past history data points and making a cross connection with what I'm experiencing right now. Okay. So that might sound like, wait, what? And here's the thing, everybody does everything. And like from talking to Versavia, sometimes she'll be talking to another person and then like some random connection will come to her mind. But the difference between an introverted intuition user and an extroverted intuition user is the introverted intuition user is going to sort of, I'll say, filter out that random connection. They're just going to be like, oh, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. I'm going to filter that out because they're NI, right? Their imagination, their intuition is narrowed. It's introverted. As an extroverted intuition user, when we have that random thought that pops in our head, like, oh, this blue elephant reminds me of the children's show Blue's Clues because that dog was blue. Now I'm thinking about dogs and I'm thinking about that character Steve, the guy, and didn't something happen? Didn't he go down in disgrace? We go after all of those bunny trails in our mind. We're seeing all of those bunny trails, all of those conceptual connections simultaneously in our mind, which is why and I'm going to mostly speak as an ENFP from an ENFP perspective because I've mostly interacted and talked to other ENFPs about this. This is it. it's a wonderful thing to have going all the time, but it also causes us a lot of strife because we have so many conceptual ideas. We have so many conceptual connections going on at any given time, and they all seem reasonable and they all seem like worth doing, that where we struggle is sort of like picking the one that we need to go after, right? So our FI, we have to make sure that we're really clear on what we want and value, in order to sort of take those conceptual connections and be able to sort of, I'll say, focus and finish on one of them, because they're all so good. Like, we have so many great ideas in our head. So a lot of times what we'll say to each other is like, yeah, too many ideas, not enough doing, right? It's like, I have all these wonderful ideas, all these wonderful interests and connections that I'm making, but I'm not executing on any one of them. And that's sort of like that's the hard thing with having this extroverted intuition function just going all the time. And another thing I want to clarify with extroverted intuition, like, especially like as it comes to objective personality typing, is the OPS system was designed by two NTJs, okay? Two SENI users. And I love them. Dave and Shan are great, but their system is very SENI bias and leaning, in that it's all about gathering a bunch of sensory of the person and then connecting those NI concepts. So they watch a lot of video, or even, I mean, and I truly do think they can type a person based on an hour video. That's maybe a post for another time, but they can take 1 hour of watching you and match up those NI language patterns, right? The problem with those of us who are on the NESI axis is that at any given time, we can see a person using all 8 functions. And we're making connections across a wide spectrum. And it's even worse if you have a background in like MBTI, socionics, Enneagram, because you're also seeing, oh, this person's like an Enneagram 4, and I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing that. We're seeing it all. It's almost like I'm going to cover up the camera with my hands, because that's kind of what happens, is we become blind because of all of these connections that are going on. So it's like, okay, which one of these is the savior? It's hard to tell. And so what I had to do finally as a NESI user is I had to just take 32 days and learn and pick examples of all of the 16 types and the jumpers, right? So that's the 32. And day by day, go through each one of them to basically build up an SI catalog. So I needed SI examples of each of the 32 types that I could then, when I'm typing a new person, I have a better spectrum of comparison. You know, Dave and Shannon talk about the spectrum, but I would argue for the NESI users out there, if you want to get better at typing, this is a little bit a sidebar into like how to get better at typing. I think that for us, it's mandatory. For us, we need our own personal understanding of each of the types before we're going to get any better at typing, because just gathering a bunch of sensory and then trying to narrow down the concept is completely against the way our brain works. Our brain is going to make a myriad of connections, and it needs to narrow down the sensory of what we're seeing, because NE and SI, they go as a coin. So anyways, I just wanted to talk a little bit about extroverted intuition. Let me know if you guys want to hear more about it, because I like to keep these videos short. I'm already pushing my time limit, because it's an interesting topic. And so this is just cutting the surface of it. But I want to communicate to the tribe what it's like to be an NE user, because I feel like it's a function that's so misunderstood. Like, everybody thinks it's this ADHD function and we're just jumping around crazily. And it's not that. It's not that we're just jumping around crazily. It's just, you got to understand is like, when we're experiencing something or when we're seeing something, we're thinking of like a whole lot of connections based on what we've experienced in the past and what we've learned in the past. And so all of those are going on in our mind. And so kind of filtering those down to one topic or one focused area, it can be a challenge for us. So anyways, comment below. Let me know if you have any other questions, or if you want me to talk any more about my functions, like maybe do a deep dive of my functions. I'm happy to do that, because I've kind of covered my demons. And so I've been thinking about changing up demon dialogues a little bit anyway. Classic EP, you know, we can't just do the same thing. So yeah, comment below. Let me know what you think. Thanks, guys. Bye.